Everyone. Welcome to the Selection Committee meeting for the Independent Taxpayer Oversight Committee, or ITAC. My name is Saba Fadhil, and I am a Senior Financial Programming Analyst at SANDAG. Thank you all for coming and for making it today. Before we start the meeting, I will ask our clerk to confirm that we have a quorum. Francesca?
Thank you, Saba. We do have a quorum.
Okay, wonderful. Before this meeting is called to order, this committee needs to select a chairperson to conduct this meeting. As a reminder, this means we will need a motion and a second, and then the clerk will conduct a roll call vote. If you would like to nominate a member or volunteer to chair the meeting, please raise your hand and provide a comment or nomination.
Saba, before we take that motion, could we please have the interpreter do their announcement?
Sure. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
Interpreter, you can go ahead. Thank you.
Good morning. Announcement from the interpreter. To use the interpretation feature, please scroll to the bottom of the Zoom screen where the meeting controls are. Click on interpretation icon, World, and select English as your language. If you're joining through the Zoom mobile app, cell phone, tablet, etc., please press the ellipsis, then interpretation, and then choose your language. Finally, click on mute original audio to not hear the original Spanish flow in the background. Headsets are available for interpretation. If you're in the meeting room, please check out a headset from the receptionist in the lobby. Buenos días. Aviso por parte del intérprete. Para hacer uso del servicio de interpretación, favor de desplazarse a la parte inferior de la pantalla de Zoom donde aparecen los controles. Haga clic en el icono de interpretación globo terráqueo y seleccione Spanish español. Si está utilizando la aplicación móvil de Zoom, celular, tableta, etc., presione los puntos suspensivos, luego interpretación y luego el idioma. Si no desea escuchar el audio original en inglés en el fondo, por favor seleccione Mute Original Audio, silenciar audio original. Contamos con auriculares disponibles para el servicio de interpretación. Si se encuentra en la sala de reunión, favor de pedir auriculares con la recepcionista en el vestíbulo. Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you. And also, Supervisor Gary is participating remotely today, and I have a couple of questions I'd like to go through with her before we take the next motion as well. Supervisor Gary, could you please confirm that you're able to keep your camera and microphone on throughout the duration of the meeting?
Yes.
Thank you very much. And could you please also state briefly the reason for your remote participation without disclosing any medical information?
Sure. The reason for me missing the meeting is because I have a illness in my family.
Thank you very much. And also, could you confirm if there is anybody over the age of 18 in the room with you?
There is no one in the room with me.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Saba, you can go ahead now. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Francesca. Just to repeat what I said moments ago, before this meeting is called to order, this committee needs to select a chairperson to conduct this meeting. As a reminder, this means we will need a motion and a second, and then the clerk will conduct a roll call vote. If you would like to nominate a member or volunteer to chair the meeting, please raise your hand and provide a comment or nomination.
It said if you raise your hand, you'll build a chair. So I'd just like to make a motion to make good friend Ron the chair. He's had a lot of experience. I checked his background. He's chaired a lot of things in SANDAG, and some of us are newbies.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Perfect.
If Ron will accept.
Looks like I got sucked in again.
Okay. Cream rises. You can't help it. Cream always rises.
I thought the protocol was the last person to arrive at the meeting became chair automatically, but
I buy the first round at the bar.
oh, okay. We'll accept that.
All right.
Thank you. I'll do a roll call vote for us. For North County Inland, Mayor White.
Yes.
For North County Coastal, Mayor Ehlers.
Yes.
For South County, Mayor Morrison.
Here.
East County is absent. The City of San Diego is absent. And for the County of San Diego, Supervisor Gary.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That motion does pass.
Thank you, Francesca.
Okay.
It's all yours, Chair, for item number 1.
All right. I'd like to call this meeting of the TransNet Independent Taxpayer Oversight Committee to order. And if we could have, looks like we're going to go with the flag salute. To do that, we should have something on the screen. If not, over here for the flag. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the land that we call home. The tribal nations of the San Diego region have historically, you think I'm going to need that? Faced injustices. We acknowledge the harmony that existed between the land, nature, and its original peoples. We have since endured displacement, persecution, and systematic oppression. We pay our respect to the unceded territory and homelands of the 18 tribes, nations in our region, the most of any county in the United States. From all four groups. This land has nourished, healed, protected, and embraced them for many generations in a relationship of balance and harmony. As members of the SANDAG community, we acknowledge this legacy. We aspire to learn from indigenous traditional knowledge and experiences in undoing the injustices of the past. Okay, we've done the pledge. Now, do we have any non-agenda public comments?
Thank you, Chair. We do have two non-agenda public comments, Purita Javier and Cesar Javier.
Say good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay.
I am Purita Javier, senior with existing medical condition and victim of ceramics manufacturing in kiln, toxicity located, constructed, and operated in a residential zone, dedicated neighborhood since 1984. We are hurt physically, emotionally, and even financially as we voice our community concerns and problems beginning in June 2021. First with the owner, second with the city, third and APCD, and fourth with the county. We are thankful by Providence having SANDAG as her pattern of governance in organizing, planning, cooperation, implementing, supervising, and controlling, and the limit of mobility and circulation for the survival and advancement of San Diegans. Over the past years of learning and teaching, we found out 4 weak links as follows. Number 1, the business owners intend to locate, construct, and operate at our
Thank you. Your
neighborhood.
time has expired. Cesar Javier.
We know each other. We learn from you, and hopefully you learn from us. We have been journeying. Our Honorable Mayor, congratulations. And we haven't reached other cities, and hopefully, I would say non-city, if the title is appropriate. Independent and dependent city, if I may say that straightforward. And we have been observing patterns. I hope the mayor should be present here, the show window of the region. We need brave, not necessarily very intelligent, but possessive of the human dimension, particularly the moral dimension. I was touched when the mayor of National City, trying his best to advance, shall we say, residents of National City of this region. We have been observing, sir. We had also the chance to look at and feel Escondido. Lemon Grove, we did. Soon, San Marcos, Vista, we did in Carlsbad. Encinitas, I felt it when I was a contractor handyman. We could only say that our city is failing because our community issue, all about sustainability, all about environmental justice, all about clean air, clean water. Our show window is failing. Sad to say, again, the mayor is absent. We need brave thinkers.
Thank you very much. Your time has expired, and that concludes the public comments. I did neglect to call for Supervisor Anderson's vote on the chair. Could you please, just for the record, state your vote?
No, I absolutely yes.
Thank you so much. My apologies.
I thought I was going to get out of it for a moment there. All right. Okay, are there any member comments? Seeing none, we go on to item 3, which is our the reappointment and appointment of members. And Sava is here to provide us with a report and the main purpose of today's meeting.
Thank you, Chair. Item number 3 addresses both the reappointment of one current member whose term expires in May 2026 and the appointment of one new member to fill the vacant position. Starting with the reappointment. On December 17th, the Technical Screening Committee recommended the reappointment of Francisco Rivera to continue in the position of a licensed architect, civil engineer, or traffic engineer. The application and resume for the applicant is included in attachment number 3 of your agenda packet. One of the actions before you today requests that you consider the reappointment of the current member in the professional licensed architect, civil engineer, or traffic engineer position for the term of up to 4 years through May 2030. If you would like to discuss this item.
Okay, so the committee can discuss this item, does not need to take an action on it right now unless they desire to do so. They can also wait to vote until they've considered the second part of the request and the appointment of a new member. But what is the pleasure? We have one person for reappointment.
Would it be appropriate to ask staff if there's been any feedback on the current person?
Absolutely.
Well, I can provide you my feedback.
Okay.
Mr. Rivera, besides working with him when we both were young engineers, he really held the city of Chula Vista to a high standard as a professional engineer during that tenure. And during his tenure here in ITALC, he has been steering us in a back to basics approach, where he's really focused on holding our feet to the fire at the staff level on where we are with the TransNet program, but also trying to cut down on additional requests that were always being put out that were not TransNet related. So for us, it's been a welcome that we can focus on the ITALC issues, and he's kept us quite on our toes on the projects and really focusing on the program and how to get it better.
In follow-up, have we had any public comment or inquiry, either positive or negative?
None.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to support renominating his position. I think having continuity is important.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Are we allowed to ask the candidates questions at this point?
yes, this is the one, just doing the one on the reappointment at the moment, but yes.
I would like to ask Mr. Rivera just a simple question.
Well, go for it, yes.
Mr. Rivera, what do you think are our biggest challenges as an agency, and how do you foresee your role playing a part in this?
All right. Good morning, honorable supervisors and honorable mayors. I think our biggest challenge is when you look at the construction cost index has increased very significantly over the last couple of years. I don't see that that's going to slow down. It's increasing faster than the rate that we are increasing our revenues, especially TransNet. And so our focus really needs to be in leveraging TransNet as best we can to continue to build the projects that we have planned for the region. So therefore, those projects in the RTIP, as they are in there and approved by the board of directors, we need to ensure that they get completed. We have a new regional transportation plan with a vision that has changed from the previous one. And so moving forward, I think we need to make sure that the projects are scoped correctly and budgeted appropriately, and that progress is being made. And so that's my focus, and it's getting the TransNet projects moving and completed as quickly as possible so that the public can enjoy the benefit of those projects sooner and cheaper.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Rivera. And Mr. Chair, I'm happy to second the motion from Supervisor Anderson.
Do you have a second, first and second, okay?
Yeah, you got a first side, similar questions. The role of ITOC, what do you see as the role of ITOC versus, and I'm looking for your view of, is it a line management role or is it an outside auditor role?
No, we have the independent auditor that's separate. The role of ITOC is to make sure that the TransNet program is delivered and to look at efficiencies in how we can make sure that the program is delivered. Any concerns that may come up with the day-to-day on the TransNet program, we bring those up. Staff brings us those reports and what needs to be done. And so for us, it's just making sure that per the TransNet ordinance, we comply with what is required with that ordinance.
Okay, so as far as delivering the product, the projects, do you have a mainline role in that, or is it staff's job to get the project done?
I think what we see is it's the local agencies that are trying to get the projects done. Staff does control some of the programs like the active transportation. And so in that regards, the staff at SANDAG is supposed to deliver those projects. But other TransNet projects are the local agencies, the highway programs, and the transit programs that may be through MTS, North County Transit, or the local agencies that they are tasked to delivering those. But as they may come across some difficulties, we are here to help them deliver those projects. And I'm sure that they reach out to SANDAG staff regularly in helping address their concerns.
Okay, so in the case of like an NTSC or a MTS, is the primary role of SANDAG staff to oversee the application of that project, or is the ITOC stepping in? What I want to make sure that I understand from you and then from the other candidates is your role actually to run the program, or is it actually just to be the feedback mechanism when things don't go right, and it's actually staff's job to run the program, whether it's directly with direct contracts or if it's through other agencies? I want to be clear on that, because I fear what happens is when the auditor becomes the manager, you break down your control system, your internal controls, as we talk very often during SANDAG board meetings.
You're right, and I think the issue with that, with the auditor, is that we do get the triennial audit report with findings on it, and then ITOC is working with SANDAG staff to make sure that we address all the findings that we may have. Certain items in there may be on the side of iTalk to address. Most of them typically are on the SANDAG staff side to deal with. And so I would say that generally, for the most part, it's SANDAG staff that's helping implement the TransNet program. And iTalk is ensuring that it's complying with what is required with the TransNet ordinance.
Okay, that's very good. I appreciate that.
Seeing nothing else, we do have a motion and a second. And we're just going with votes on this.
Yes, we can vote.
So with that, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All right.
Thank you, Chair.
And I didn't hear any. I heard all
Francisca,
ayes,
do
no
we need
nays, I
to
take it?
hold it for
Okay.
Chair, I'm
we're
so
good.
sorry. We do have to do a roll call vote since Supervisor Gary is participating
Oh, that's right.
remotely.
That's right, we do. Okay,
Uh,
you're correct.
Bear with me just one
Okay,
second.
so we have the clerk do the roll call, please.
Yes. Sorry, apologies. Just one moment. List. For the County of San Diego Supervisor Gary,
Yes.
for the County of San Diego Supervisor Anderson,
Aye.
for South County Chair Morrison,
Aye.
for East County Mayor Snow,
Aye.
for North County Coastal Mayor Ehlers,
Aye.
and for North County Inland Mayor White.
Yes.
That motion does pass unanimously with those members present.
Thank you, Francisca.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to the appointment of the new member.
Yes.
Okay.
Moving to the appointment of a new member, on December 17th, the Technical Screening Committee recommended Melanie Estes and Lima Saft for the vacant position. We are seeking the appointment of one member for the category of a licensed engineer in the field of transportation, project design, or construction. We have both applicants present today for the consideration. Applications and resumes for the applicants are included in your agenda packet in attachment 3. There are few options available to the committee to determine how to move forward with the vacant position. We can have option 1. The committee could choose to use the materials included in the agenda to make a motion and vote to appoint a candidate for the position without interviewing. We have option number 2. The committee can ask each applicant to say a few words about themselves, and then the committee can make motion and vote to appoint a candidate. And option number 3, the committee could ask questions of the applicants before making its motion. A set of questions was sent to the selection committee as an example, but of course, the selection committee can ask different questions. In previous years, the committee has started with each applicant giving a brief 1 to 2 minutes introduction, and then committee members asked interview questions if they wish. Then after the committee has had an opportunity to deliberate, the vote was taken.
Right.
I would go with what we've done in the past. That sounds like a good approach. That'd be my recommendation.
Seeing nods all the way around here, it looks like. Okay, then we will conduct with business as usual. With that, we will have our 2 candidates here. I'm going to start on the far end. If you can introduce yourself and spend like 2 minutes introducing yourself.
Good morning. My name is Lima Saft, and I want to thank you for the opportunity to present my candidacy for this position as a professional engineer. My education includes a bachelor degree in civil engineering, a master's degree in transportation engineering from San Diego State University, and a PhD in transportation science from UC Irvine. I am a professional engineer since 1997, and I also possess a project management professional certification since 2007, which I applied to my work. Last year, I or actually it's already been more than a year ago, I retired from Caltrans after working there for almost 32 years. And I applied my professional engineer experience and license to design, construction, traffic operation, and project management jobs. My last appointment before I retired was a senior transportation engineer innovation manager. And in that position, I was privileged to implement or help implement innovations in transportation projects. It's very difficult to start with the standards that are not really very flexible, but also introduce innovations. So being in that position where I was afforded an opportunity to include innovation right from the start of the project and not as an afterthought really helped include them and not be kicked out at the end of the project when funding is becoming sparse. So that experience actually helped me be creative in obtaining funding for such innovations because they're not standard. So it's hard to get maybe federal funds directly applied. So we worked on getting grants and getting creative design so it would be accepted. In addition to that, I worked as a project manager on the largest project in California in Orange County on 405 express lanes with the OCTA. And that project was as a project manager, I was responsible for making sure that the project is completed on budget and on time, but also within the requirements of the project documents. And the project is active now. I don't know if you have used it in Orange County, very successful and award-winning project. In San Diego, I have been involved in many innovative and transportation forward-looking projects like ICM on I-15, transportation system management and operations on 805, the proving grounds for connected and automated vehicle testing in San Diego, which was also a unique opportunity because nowhere in the country that was possible. In addition to working for Caltrans for the last 14 years, I have been teaching transportation engineering at San Diego State University as an adjunct professor. And that not only gives me the satisfaction and pleasure of passing on my experience to the future generations of engineers, but also learn from them and keeping current on what is happening in our field. I also am very involved in professional organizations. I recently was a chair of the board of directors for WTS, which is a professional organization that has a mission of advancing women's careers in transportation industry. As a professional engineer, I was asked to teach PE review courses for those who are preparing to take the professional engineer exam and sharing with them not only materials, but also tips and tools on how to be successful in taking the exam. Just quickly. So I just wanted to present myself as a candidate and hope to get your support in being a part of the ITALK board. And I think that I have a lot to offer to continue making this board successful and transparent and be a good partner to SANDAG and the region. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Estes?
Yes, good morning, mayors and supervisors of this committee. I also thank you for allowing me to come and present myself to you as a applicant. I am a 35-year career civil engineer, licensed civil engineer in California. In that career, I have delivered every type of infrastructure project in construction management and some design. Many of those right here in San Diego County, both as public sector and private sector professional. My background encompasses the delivery and construction management of projects, including highway and bridge, airport, bikeway project, schools, other vertical work across the country as an executive. I have worked here with SANDAG on the private side for probably the 15 years out of the 20 years that I've lived here in San Diego County. I'm a lifetime Californian. I've been a program manager, so I understand the challenges that delivering this program brings to the table, as well as staff with boots on the ground on the projects, and understand the compliance challenges that come with delivering those projects with limited resources and also limited budgets. Having lived here in San Diego County for over 20 years, I'm a resident of La Mesa. I am appreciative of what SANDAG brings to the region. I also have worked with transportation agency programs in California, elsewhere in Central California, and understood the challenges of bringing new measures, getting voter interest in what the challenges are to delivering the RTIP. And I wanted to, as a retired person as of October, I wanted to be able to be part of continuing to contribute during that time in what I see as a tremendous challenge so that this region can continue to be, to me, one of the most welcoming, enduring, and progressive regions in the state. And I hope to be part of that. So thank you for your time. Melanie Estes.
All right, committee members, we have some sample questions. If you'd like to use those, or if you'd like to ask your own questions, either of both candidates or one at a time, either way you want to do it.
I'll hop in.
Jump in there.
Same line of questions. I'll start with Melanie this time. Same line of questions as far as your view of the role of ITALK in the grand scheme of things.
So my view is basically what the Oversight Committee title is, Independent Taxpayer Oversight. I feel like as a committee member, if so selected, I would be ensuring that the taxpayers are getting what they voted for and the mandates under that measure and what the ordinances require, and finding ways to help communicate that to the public and to help with the committee in that transparency and ensuring that, staff and that the measure is being delivered and communicated to those voters to protect what we're all putting our sales tax money into.
Yeah. So, and both of you, but in your background, Melanie, you both are very close to SANDAG, having even worked for SANDAG or Caltrans. And can you discuss and explain how you can remain independent, yet having that very, very close working relationship?
I'm a big believer that when I did my job as a professional working as a consultant for whatever agency I was there at the behest of the taxpayer. So keeping that independence has always been ingrained in, you're there to do the project and you're there to deliver what the goals for that agency are and protect what the funding is requiring you to do. Much of my career was included auditing and protection of those compliance measures. And so I feel like it's ingrained in being independent and finding ways to make sure that the public understood that we're there to protect their interests. So I feel like it's an ingrained thing, being independent and being protective of of what you're there to do has always been part of my profession.
Good. So I'm a big proponent for past performance predicts future performance. And I always like to ask people what they've done. I'm an engineer too, and I've run into many, many issues. And so tell me about an example. I like to learn by examples. Tell me about an example where you encountered, let's call it an inefficiency. It could be as bad as in malfeasance or an improper process that you ran into. Just an example and what you did and what initiative you took, if you have one.
Absolutely. One of the biggest kind of challenges that we have in large transportation projects and some of the requirements that are, I think of one specific about the acceptance of materials that come into a project site. There are a tremendous number of materials that come from all over, could be the country, could be out of the country, and there are very specific compliance measures that come with that. One of the things in working both with Caltrans and then working in the private sector is monitoring those and making sure that they're in compliance and that you have all of the paper trail that would provide that to an auditor when they come and look at your paperwork. So you do protect the funding, which is the whole reason why, as an engineer on the project site, you're having to monitor it and you're also having to document it. I helped with the Caltrans materials group out of Sacramento develop a database that for an individual project that would allow you to monitor those items more readily, make sure that you had all of the paperwork, whether it's a certificate, whether it's an inspection documentation, all of that material to be documented, and then that way it could be shared and you knew you had all your I's dotted and your T's crossed.
So did you run into a particular example that you had to take action on? That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking for like something that happened. 35 years, you probably are long, many decades. Yeah, I'm sure you've run into multiple.
Certainly, Mayor. I think out of a very specific item, going back to the material is I would use reinforcement in a bridge specifically. So running a project in on the I-10, an interchange, Indian Canyon. Many of you, I'm sure, have passed that interchange. I was the resident engineer, and we had, it was about the time that there was a heavy emphasis on US made materials and iron, and being able to track the amount of reinforcement coming into the job site. There was an issue with some foreign steel that came in, and we had to identify it and make sure that it was reported, and it did not violate the 1% requirement for foreign steel. Okay. And so we had to research that, and that's what led to actually documenting the material in real time and having a better way to monitor.
And then did you stop it being used, or did you have to?
Yes, the material that's over 1% had to be rejected.
Okay. And
they had to find another supplier in order to complete that work.
Okay, very good. Thank you. So similar questions to Lima. Role of ITOC.
Thank you so much for your question. I see the role of ITOC as a partner to SANDAG. We are supposed to make sure that what the program was voted for is delivered. And also sometimes because it's a long program, cost is an issue. So to come up with innovative or maybe creative ways to still deliver the project, even when the money becomes scarce, trying to find additional funding and maybe recommend what the project team can do to still deliver the project that the taxpayers have voted for. So I see the role of ITOC. and be kind of in the weeds to know what is actually happening, so you can make these recommendations. Be prepared when you come to the meetings, be ready to ask tough questions, and also see if people thought of other alternative ways if they have issues why they haven't delivered something on time. In terms of your second question about efficiencies or finding ways to make something better, I have so many examples, but one that just came to mind is I was a project manager on a project where we were installing, not very expensive project, but installing transportation system management devices on the project. And one of the things that was missing was actually fiber. And I don't know if you know about this part of how the little devices work. You need to have power, you need to have communication. And trying to justify including fiber was difficult, but we were able to be creative and said, this is not really a separate item. It's a part of what makes this work. If we just install it and don't have that portion, and it wasn't in the original scope of work. So trying to come up with the right way to deliver the project that actually, once you turn it on, it actually works, and not just it also. It's maybe a small project, but it's something that shows how you can be creative.
Okay, and then the same question about your background's very much tied in with SANDAG and Caltrans and many of the. How do you maintain that independence of the I and ITalk?
Right. I have worked, as you know, for many years for Caltrans, but I also was a part of multidisciplinary and multi-agency teams. And that taught me that everybody comes with their priorities to the meetings, especially if there are a lot of different players. But to bring everybody together, to build consensus, to understand where they stand, and Frank probably would echo that. We were working on I-805 project to see how the cities, Caltrans, SANDAG, MTS, all can work together to make 805 more efficient. And everybody came to the table with totally different preparedness levels. When we talked about, how much technology do you have on your roads that approach 805? We were very surprised when City of National City came and said, we really don't care about technology right now. What we care about is having our roads actually free of trash. Can you guys do something about that? I was like, okay, this is not why we're here, but yes, this is what your priorities are. We cannot talk to you past that point if we don't fix what you really are worried about. So we might have some ideas of what community want, what cities want, what the others want, but before we decide, we should ask, what is that they want? So having that open mind is what makes me also be more independent and more open to hearing what others need. And as being a longtime employee of Caltrans, I understand how things work. And I also understand where maybe there are opportunities for efficiency improvements. But also I am very much into building consensus.
Okay, thank you. And I yield.
When you complete your term, what is it that you hope to have accomplished in your role as on the ITalk committee? I'll start with Lima.
We have a program to deliver. We have TransNet funds that there is not much left, but we're still there to show success of the projects that are part of TransNet. Hopefully, will convince our voters and taxpayers to continue with something similar to this program, so transportation projects can continue being delivered. As part of ITalk and making sure that they are delivered as promised, I think that that would be the great achievement of my being on the board.
I think the two things that I would hope to walk away with is achieving, the two things are important to me, and that is part of the goals of the ITALK are the transparency and the digestibility of information. I think are two big goals right now. Transparency is of the utmost importance in our kind of landscape today, and to be part of helping ensure that that goal is met, that we've been transparent. I think that is what's going to lead us to, as a community and as a county, to the success of a future measure. And then along with that, being able to digest that information, which is also part of one of the goals. And I am committed as a committee member to helping make sure that any information that is out there is actually something that people can understand, the general public, because that's the sales tool you have for a future measure. And so often we put out graphs and charts and reports, and you know, the general public living out there, they don't look at it, and two, they don't understand it. And I think that it's really critical between now and a future time frame that a new measure comes to pass, that we do that. So if I can be part of accomplishing that and seeing that success, that would be a win for me.
All right, thank you so much. And it's an honor to be in this room with two incredibly accomplished people. So thank you so much.
The other members?
I got a real tough one here for you. Just want to make sure you have the time available for the commitment.
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Seeing nothing else, I'll ask one here. Both of you have had, you know, quite a careers and with a lot of accomplishments. But it sounds like as if there's still activity. So my question is, do you foresee any conflicts with being on iTalk with any activities that you might have going on in the industry?
My view of being on the committee is actually it's building on the synergy that I am a part of the industry, knowing what is happening. I also continue teaching. So I did retire from Caltrans, but as a retired annuitant, I continue teaching. And that completely is not a conflict of interest with iTalk. I actually want my students to know what the region is doing, because they probably are going to work either for Caltrans or SANDAG or the consultants or the cities in our region. And knowing how projects are being delivered, what are the funding sources, what are the hurdles, I think this is important. I also am an active member of the Transportation Women Transportation Seminar, which is the organization that has membership across our region and nationally, but everybody on that committee is there to, you know, support women's advancement, not really like sharing, there is a project coming up. I mean, you know what I mean? We want people to succeed within the parameters of our organization. And I think knowing what is happening in the region is important.
I have, this is my only application. I'm on no boards. I am not working part-time for any other companies in the sector. I have my own brick and mortar shop in the city of La Mesa to feed my interests in new challenges. Therefore, it's very important to me not to have any conflicts so that I could give full attention to this as far as the industry goes. So at this point, I'm fully committed to this committee.
Both of you are
very, very qualified. I've enjoyed all your answers. Is there a question that we haven't asked that you'd like to answer and share with us?
Just for the sake of, I think one of the things that I wanted to make sure is that how I felt my experience in the industry could be beneficial. Would be the only other question I could think of. We may have answered it with others, so I try not to repeat myself. But one of the reasons why I applied for this, it wasn't through any industry and colleagues or anything that told me about it. I actually saw it on Facebook, frankly, which I'm not a Facebook person, but one of your staff was wise enough to put it out there and I saw it. And it piqued my interest because it is my community. I do have the 35 years in this industry delivering this identical type of program. And I felt like if I'm going to do anything, I think being a community member, taxpayer, and marrying up what I've done my entire career and all of that experience, I thought, you better apply and share that and be part of the team.
I'm sure I have similar ambitions why I am on as a candidate for this committee. Just because we retire, it doesn't mean we need to forget everything that we have done before this point. And we have been working on many projects in this. I have been working on many projects in this area, and just would like to pay it forward and just continue being involved. I know that I have a lot to offer, and I would like to offer it to iTalk. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Yes.
So iTalk is obviously a key accountability safeguard for this agency. It helps us ensure that our taxpayer dollars are being spent, correctly and in a transparent way. And I think that includes ensuring that underserved communities receive their fair share. So can you elaborate or discuss what strategies have you used in the past in your past roles and that you would bring to this role to ensure that happens?
Thank you so much for the question. I have worked on many projects that either were going through the underserved communities or adjacent to them. And what I have experienced is that oftentimes their voices are not really heard until the project is already past the approval. And on a few projects that I was a project manager on, that was the main thing before the project was approved, is to reach out to the communities and present what we think as engineers, planners, the needs are for the project. But then you want to meet with them and say, this is what we think, what do you think? Because oftentimes it might not align, but there might be areas where you can easily find that intersection. And not only would that actually help out the project, but also it will buy the approval and acceptance of the community and make this project more successful and move it forward, because we know that there are processes that have to take place before you can get to the next level of funding, and that would really help. So that my experience in that has been very fulfilling, actually, to bring the projects to the community before all of the final decisions or design features have been made, to see what we're interested on doing. I was a lead project engineer on this very unique project or group of projects to install sound walls on private properties along different freeways that were impacted by construction projects, but were not part of the main project scope. And so in very few years, we were able to provide noise abatement to those people who were very close to the freeway. Not much could have been done if you don't have either sound wall or maybe even interior abatement. But working with somebody on their property was not something that public agencies do. We have our own right of way, and that's what we usually work with. But actually negotiating with the homeowners to say, we're doing it for your benefit. Are you going to, let us do it? And you needed to show what it is that they're getting out of it, and work with us directly, because you need everybody's approval before you can move forward. So we were able to do that, and that all that requires is actually talking to people and listening to them. So I think that underprivileged communities feel that they are left out, but they need to be included. They need to be brought to the table and listened to. Thank you.
Thank you.
From my perspective, very similarly to Lima, the way that I see it really aligns with what I mentioned before. The serving of underserved communities is based in the communication and how information is provided. I think oftentimes we assume too much. And I think that's one thing that why the goals, why I mentioned before, to be able to achieve the ability to provide information to those underserved communities when projects may be impacting them, or when there's an opportunity to get grant money for a project. It really comes down to the communication and communicating how they receive information. Oftentimes is different how other areas of the community receive information, and also how they may understand that information is also something very important. So I think what I mentioned before is the goals that I have of making sure that the transparency is there, and that is also, that means for the underserved communities that they understand what is happening, why it's happening, and we're listening. That the program is listening to what their concerns are, which are oftentimes very different. And then also providing that information that they can digest it in a way and understand the impacts for them specifically. I'll just use an example as Lima did. What I found in my work on a freeway project, for example, oftentimes are going through underserved communities, unfortunately. And oftentimes they aren't able to react to some of the work. And when you're working along the right of way of maybe an area of town that is underserved, you have to take a little extra time, and you have to make sure that they understand what's coming and when, because they may be challenged in addressing some of those challenges. For example, if you are building a sound wall along the right of way of the backyard of someone, you have to make sure that they understand they may be limited in resources in what they can clear or what they can do or how they can react to that. So I think that's important to listen, provide the transparency, and then also provide the information in a way that can be digested, and the opportunities to react.
Thank you. I have a follow-up question, Mr. Chair, quickly for both candidates. So I really appreciate your responses, but when it comes to metrics that would ensure equity outcomes, what metrics do you think ITALK should be monitoring to ensure that equity outcome? And are you prepared to flag that? Should you be one of the only ones on the committee to notice those inequities?
Thank you for the question. Some of the people in this room know me and know that I might not be quiet if I see that there are some inequities that are not being just brought up. And the metrics that you are mentioning, just a simple check mark to say, is this project going through the underserved community? Yes or no? What are the names of the communities or community groups that are part of that footprint? Have they been brought to the meetings and also document their input. You know, it might be that they have no input. That's great too. Just no is an answer as well. But just to make sure that they have the opportunity and the platform to do that is important. Because again, what we think they might need is not necessarily what they need. So if input from them is what we want to hear and be able to make sure that it's included in the project, or at least review the project for that through that lens. Thanks.
I think that Lima and I both of our experiences, that's one of the benefits of having worked in the industry for so long, is being able to flag those things and knowing where you are, understanding the community, at San Diego County, the geography, where those communities are, and when those projects are going through those areas and the kinds of impacts. I think that actually both of our experience lends to that very well. And also making sure that the goals for those projects, they're brought by the local agencies, that the goals include those impacts and how they're going to address those things. I think that's when the questions should be asked in the grants themselves. And then that will allow the ITALK committee to monitor and to ask those questions. But I believe that the experience that we have, which I think was wise to have that on the committee, is what's going to help us to flag those types of projects. And absolutely, I think that we are independent women in this industry, and we would always want to protect the communities that they go through, whether they're underserved or not. And I don't think either Lima or I are quiet people. And we would always be willing to step up and stand up for what's the proper thing.
Thank you both so much.
If that finishes the questions from the panel,
Yes.
not seeing any others, we would politely ask if the two of you, if you're comfortable with it, would leave the room for a few moments and let us to deliberate, and then we will be calling you back in.
We need to ask
Chair,
for
before we
public
deliberate-
comments. Oh, sorry.
Oh, okay.
For
I'm sorry.
public,
Yeah.
for public comments before we vote or we go into the voting process.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
The clerk of the board asks for public comments.
We do have one public comment. Cesar Javier.
Thank you, SANDAG. We are learning. But just like our candidates, we are also retirees, experience within our, of course, limits. One is reappointment. The other one is appointment. SANDAG, Mr. Chair, could we not bring about people who are young, fresh, very eager to do the right thing based on their limited time compared to the candidates? We need fresh, young, brave, adventurous. Sir CEO, oh Mario, you see, when you're retiring, you tend to forget. This is an example that we would like to input. We need fresh, young, of course, capable. What else, my dear? We are an example on our twilight years, still trying to learn. And we would like to impart this, share with you. We need fresh public servants, whether elected or in the private capacity, NGO, if we may say that. what else? That's our legacy and challenge for those aspiring workers.
Thank you. Thank you. Your time has expired. We do have one additional public comment online. The person with the phone number ending in 3731, you can go ahead.
Hey there, it is Truth. I love calling in. It's not something I usually do, but better get used to it. I don't know who's in the room. I haven't checked. I skimmed the agenda while you guys were talking, so very quick research here. I'm glad to see 3 highly qualified candidates, at least on paper. Not 100% sure how qualified really in real life, because that's always something different. But I have to point out that Manuel asked highly inappropriate questions and very hypocritical as well. There is no equity outcome. There is no equity anymore at all. Get over it. What matters is, to the candidates, are you going to ensure projects are finished on time, on budget, with zero corruption with our tax dollars? Because that's the job of ITALK. It is about protecting tax dollars. And I understand Manuela doesn't understand anything about that, but that is what the job consists of. That's it. There's no personal agendas. There's no political game. Because there's only one underserved community by SANDAG. It's the entire county of San Diego, excluding the city of San Diego, who has been overserved, if I dare argue that point. Look how many bike lanes they got with our tax dollars that were completely irrelevant and unneeded. Waste of tax dollars, done wrong, most of them. That's where ITALK comes into play and says, hey, there's something wrong here. Because it's not supposed to be the job of people like me calling in or being in person to keep calling these things out. And I'm not sure if there's only going to be 2 picked out of the 3 total candidates, or everybody's going to get a free pass. But I think I put Francisco at the top and maybe Melanie second. I appreciate that Melanie took a risk on a Facebook ad, but I am concerned about the involvement in the 125 and the failed California high-speed rail. I'm also concerned about the investments and Accenture LLP. That could be a conflict of interest. I'm also concerned for Lima about the interest in computer cars taking over the roads. That's already happened in LA. It's been a failure with Waymo, et cetera. So I am concerned, but when it comes to paper, everyone's qualified, and I am happy to see that. So hopefully you guys pick right, or if there's no pick, well, then I hope you all do a great job.
Thank you. Your time has expired. That concludes the public comments.
All right, thank you. Candidates?
Mr. Chair, if I may, thank you both for applying. We've had all sorts of search firms bring people in that weren't nearly as qualified as you are. So thank you for taking the time to be here.
Truly.
The difference.
Is this a closed session or is this just?
No, it's not closed session. Here, just, we normally have just so that we can talk candidly.
Okay.
Okay, so this is our time for any comments that you have, or any enlightenments or anything else?
I think Joel hit it on the nose. They're both very qualified. I think Truth hit it on the nose. They're both very qualified. I think the one thing I was looking for was independent. They both have some lack of independence, but they also both show personalities that are independent, which I really appreciate. I thought Paloma's questions about protecting the disadvantaged communities actually got to the heart of my question of are you independent? And will you raise your hand and say something's wrong if something's wrong? That's really what I'm looking for in an independent. So I think I came to a different conclusion than Truth. I think Melanie may be a little more independent, but not much, but they're both highly qualified. I could support either one. So how's that for an answer? I can support either one.
Boy, splitting the baby right down the middle. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But I think I have a slight preference for Melanie, but I think they're both very qualified. And I like the fact they will raise their hands.
Right. Anybody else?
Again, they were incredibly qualified. I cannot believe that this is how they want to spend their retirement. I'm eager to have either one of them on our board. I'm actually leaning towards Lima. I liked her approach. I also like the fact that she's teaching over at SDSU, being able to relay the type of information to people who are coming into the industry shows that she will be able to do actually what Melanie was talking about, the digestibility of information. I think that because she has that experience, she might be better at communicating with the outside audience when when taxpayers are asking, where are our dollars going to, and having an engineer, because I've worked with engineers and sometimes they speak a different language.
Similar to lawyers.
Yeah, similar to lawyers. And it is difficult to convey what's being done. And so I think that gives her an aspect, maybe may hit the energy that Cesar was looking for. But I mean, both their resumes are impeccable, and they're incredible.
Okay.
I have comments, Chair.
Okay, well, we'll let the lady go first, then we'll come over to Dave. Please. Supervisor, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. So they're both incredibly impressive in their resumes and their experience. I think both of them would do a fine job, but I am leaning towards Lima just because as we enter uncharted waters, I guess, in a lot of the challenges, as Mr. Rivera mentioned in his comments on what challenges lie ahead for our agency. I think having someone that can bring that outside of the box thinking to problem solving and make recommendations, because let's not forget that is one of the primary roles of the ITALK is to present recommendations and, like I asked, flag issues that they may see. I think Lima edges out Melanie because of that from my perspective. So I'm leaning towards Lima, but again, I think both would be equally great.
Okay. Dave?
Ditto.
The ditto. All right.
I agree with my colleagues.
Okay. Yeah, this is I'll say this is kind of a tough choice because as I say, you got two very well qualified individuals. A lot of times we don't get that kind of a choice. As we know in politics, a lot of times we deal with the lesser of two evils. And but here we have two people that are eminently qualified. I have a little bit of agreement with Mr. Javier. He was saying we kind of need new, we need younger, everything else. Well, it's just realizing with ITALK, that's kind of difficult because normally you're going to be, if you're young into the business, you're going to have a lot of conflicts, everything else along that line. You don't have the experience. But the one thing that kind of tips it for me here is toward Lima in that her teaching at San Diego State. She is in touch with people that are younger, that coming into the business, everything else, gets to hear that perspective. All too often as, I'm not gonna say older, but more distinguished elected officials that do local planning, sometimes we still get stuck in the days of Ozzie and Harriet and thinking that everything's supposed to be the little white picket fences and everything. And the world's changing. And so I think we need to be as in touch with things that are changing as we possibly can. That's the reason I kind of, between the two of them, I agree. I could go either way with these two ladies. I think they're phenomenally qualified, but I lean towards Lima.
Is that a motion?
I will, if you want me to, I will make that in the form of a motion.
I'll second.
Okay. All right. So we have a motion and a second. We're going to need to have a roll call. Or if there's any comments on the motion? We don't have any comments on it. We'll go to the vote. We can have roll call, please.
Thank you, Chair. For the County of San Diego, Supervisor Aguirre.
Yes.
For the County of San Diego, Supervisor Anderson.
Aye.
For East County, Mayor Snow.
Aye.
For North County Inland, Mayor White.
Yes.
For North County Coastal, Mayor Ayers,
Yes.
and for South County, Mayor Morrison.
Aye.
That motion passes unanimously with those members present.
Okay, with that, we can bring the two applicants back in. Good. Well, thank you to both of you. And, you know, this was both a delightful decision and a hard one. It was delightful in the deal that we had two people that are eminently qualified and willing. And as I stated all too often, when we were discussing here, is that all too often we're left with the choice of the lesser two evils. And that wasn't the case here at all. It was two excellent individuals. And it's that all of us, everyone stated, it would have been easy to go with either one. But regrettably, we don't have two open positions. And so with that, the vote was taken for Lima Saft to be on the committee. And Melanie, everyone was extremely impressed, not only with your credentials, but also with your answers. And we would hope that you would look to apply to an opening in the future. With that,
Leave your Facebook on.
yeah, stay tuned to Facebook. And okay, with that, that is all of our actions for today, and we are adjourned. Okay.